connect and influence and persuade through an email or through a message or through a headline or through some sort of vocabulary that connects to what the pain point is of you guys. You guys are in here for a reason, whether it was an email, a Facebook post, a referral, a previous event. There was a pain point that you had at one point, and something caught your eye about this event that was going to solve for that pain point, and you showed up. So that doesn't happen unless it's verbal or it's written through word and copywriting. So our next speaker, I've been following Carlos for about a year now. He doesn't know it, I've been stalking him for the last year. I stalk people for this event. I'm like, who's doing what in this world? And so, as you notice, a lot of our speakers are not just in the fitness industry. I go outside of fitness to see what is happening and bring it into fitness, because guess what? Y'all are all entrepreneurs. Like, you're at the point now where you're beyond the technician. You're now, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit, but you're moving into that manager and into the entrepreneur world. And so, to go help you do that, I look for speakers that are doing amazing work in other industries. Carlos comes from the digital marketing, internet marketing space. Different space, but guess what? How many of you are using digital marketing? How many of you are actually doing internet marketing? All of you better put your hands up, because that's what you're doing. So, to bring someone in like him who's helped companies and helped people make millions with an M through copywriting and selling. I'm excited for this talk. You guys are going to learn a lot. This is going to help you take it to that next step with how you're communicating to your people. So, hands together. Please welcome Carlos to the stage.
Give it up for him, guys. Woo! Sweet. So, I think I should know the answer to this until I get the little slide clicker thing. How many of you, by show of hands, how many of you guys want to make a lot of money in the fitness industry? A lot of money in the fitness industry. Perfect. Now, how many of you would agree that it takes really a massive amount of commitment, a lot of work, and a lot of effort to really get to the next level? Eventually, you can break through it and maybe relax a little and have some systems automated. But to really get to that next level, how many would agree that it really takes a lot of effort and a lot of work? Absolutely. I mean, there's no magic thing, right? The internet scales you, it helps you do things easier, but you're still going to have to work. And by showing up here, you guys have all showed, I mean, look at the empty seats next to you. These are people that wanted to come. Maybe they bought a ticket, but they didn't actually show up. And how many of you have heard that half the battle is showing up, or 80% is just showing up? It's 100% true. Ooh, man. I'll figure out how to do it. How do I do it? Forward, backwards. That's off. That's forward. All right, sweet. So, but just like I was saying, I mean, by you guys actually showing up, you've shown that you're committed. You've shown that you've got really the work ethic that it takes to really make this stuff work. Do you guys mind? I know nobody here really knows me for the most part. By showing us, is it okay if I share maybe like 3-5 minutes of my story with you? Is it okay? Sweet. So let me fast forward this. Here we go. Sweet. So I actually started in martial. I'm 32 now. When I started in the fitness world, I was 12 years old. I got into martial arts, and it was unbelievable for me. I was super insecure, and when I learned how to do martial art and I started getting good at it, at around 20 years old, 21, my martial art instructor asked me to start teaching. And it was crazy because I was so good at this punching and kicking stuff, but when I got on stage, so to speak, and I went to teach, I probably lost like half the room because I couldn't communicate it. I was like, okay, so here's what you do, guys. And I was like, I don't know what to tell him. I just moved, right? So it wasn't so good. Eventually, he was like, all right, we've got to work on your skills. How many of you guys know what copywriting is? I know you kind of asked. Actually, raise your hand if you don't know what copywriting is. Perfect. So I guess the classic definition is salesmanship in print. But the way I'd like for you guys, if you could, just to look at it is, you're essentially writing words on a piece of paper, maybe through a video or whatever it is, to make people do something. Maybe that's try something for free, maybe that's give you money, whatever it is, you're writing some stuff to influence, just like the first speaker was talking about, and you're using the traffic you're getting from Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and you're sending them to a place so that they actually take action. Now, when I was about, like I said, 21, 22, and I was really terrible at the whole teaching stuff, Dwight Woods, Seafood Dwight, he's the one who introduced me to everything. He was like, let's get you good at copywriting. It's salesmanship in print. And so if you can get good at this writing stuff, maybe there's a chance we could get you to start enrolling some new students. So I started going, and I started learning all these from really a bunch of books. I'm actually going to shout out things. You're going to want to write these down. These are some people that I studied, some directly, some indirectly, just through books. John Carlton, Gary Halbert. How many of you guys know who those two are? Okay, cool. Yeah, so then this is good. You definitely want to know who they are. A person who helped me when I was writing some stuff for a company named Agora, named Clayton Makepeace, in my opinion, is probably the best living copywriter right now. He's about 70 years old. He knows exactly what converts. So these are just some people you want to study and start looking at. But eventually, so I started looking at these people, I started studying it, and I eventually started helping out at the martial arts school. But not so much, I eventually did keep teaching and stuff, but it was more on the marketing side. So I started writing emails and flyers and different little sales pages and stuff. And I got decent at it. It actually really started working. And so a few years later, my business partner at the time, Vic, he and I moved to Jacksonville from Miami. It was about 300 or 400 miles. We didn't want to compete with Dwight. And we started our own school. The thing is, when we first started it, we probably made all the worst mistakes possible. We got all of the equipment. We got the $10,000 a month gym that we had to pay overhead for $10,000 a month. How many of you guys pay $10K or more a month in rent? It sucks, right? Especially when you're first starting. So we were like, man, we got to make money now. We put all of our money essentially into everything except for marketing and the stuff that was going to get people in. Have any of you guys made that kind of mistake before? Put all your money in anything else but marketing? Perfect. So I'm the only one. So it was the worst thing ever. But eventually what we did is we got some flyers. Now flyers weren't and probably aren't the best way to advertise, but I wasn't savvy with all this Facebook stuff back then or any of this stuff. So we started putting out flyers and spamming the world and spamming cars with all these flyers. Eventually, I realized the ones that worked were the ones that had really good headlines, some cool before and after pictures, and a really great call to action. The call to actions were different, from a free week to get some free boxing gloves, but they all were very clear, all grabbed attention. So eventually, right, I'm skipping a little, but eventually, I was like, well, let me see if I can make some money online using these same skills. I know there's tons of people doing it, so why don't I try it? So I kept trying a little here and there. I failed more than I succeeded, but I eventually started selling stuff in every industry, from the pet niche to the martial art niche to, crazy niches you probably never even expected. And I got decent at it. Eventually, when I started kind of making this stuff work, I realized that all of the stuff that I was selling was through sales pages. How many of you guys, by show of hands, know what a sales page is? Perfect. So for the ones that don't, it's essentially a single page that has one purpose, and you're selling one thing. So contrary to what I used to think, I would sell things like wristbands and t-shirts and all these different things. And I would put all on the same website and like a big e-commerce store and hope somebody would buy. And no one was really buying until I sold just a wristband on one page, just a t-shirt on the other page. And so a sales page was really the big thing in my head. I was like, wow, I can just send a bunch of traffic to a long sales page. I don't need everyone to buy. Just need enough people to buy so it works. And that's it. So Dwight and I, we partnered up on a thing called I Love Jeet Kune Do. If you go on Facebook, we have a 90,000 person Facebook group or Facebook fan page, and we started this online martial art training. Because how many of you guys want consistent income in your business? Right, 100%. That's what I wanted. When I was doing this stuff at the gym, we were signing people up for $150 a month to train a couple days a week. And so I was like, well, we need some kind of income coming in. So we started a $69 a month membership for our online Jeet Kune Do course. And that thing started taking off. Within a couple days, we had 100 members, and it was like, all right, this stuff is real. We can really do this. So I eventually left the whole martial art world, started doing it only online, and it was really a big change for me. And what I want to speak with you guys about is how to write those sales pages for your business. Because I came from the same stuff, and I guarantee you, if I would have used the sales pages I do with some of my online stuff for my physical stuff, it would have worked so much better. Because when I was selling services, my martial arts services, I had just a generic website with a class schedule and, here's my prices and here's the homepage and all the instructors, and that wasn't converting anybody. If I would have had a nice page or just a single page that sold one membership or one boot camp or one t-shirt, whatever it was, I guarantee would have been better. So let's move on. So actually, that's our page, 89,000 people. This is our first 100 customers that came for our monthly membership, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. I got to do this forever. because they like change the world. So you guys have this. Perfect. So do you guys mind if I share about 13 steps on how to write a high converting sales page? Show of hands. Can I share it? Thanks. The reason I asked you guys to do this is because there's only a couple ways you're going to kind of do this presentation. I have nothing to sell you, by the way. I'm not doing this for a big pitch. If you guys sit there and just kind of passively like, this is cool, I guarantee it's not going to really sink in. When I lay out these 13 steps, I suggest, and hopefully you guys all do it, start filling in each step with whatever it is you sell. Maybe it's a boot camp, maybe it's personal training. But fill it in, because that way you're actually going to see results. Are you guys cool with that? Perfect. Okay, so the first step, we got to steal attention. So many times in a sales page, for example, that's the headline. How many of you guys heard of a video sales letter? Okay, so just a few of you. A sales letter and a video sales letter are exactly the same thing. It's the same script, except one is in video and one is in the written form. So the first step, whether it's a video or whether it's going to be a sales page, is you've got to have a headline. You've got to steal their attention. The thing is, a lot of mistakes get made when you do these headlines because we try to sell, for example, when I was selling my martial arts stuff, when I was selling my services, I forget what it was, but I was basically in the headline, it was like, come check out a free week, and then it's like $150. Like I had the whole pitch in the headline. That's just not what you do. The headline's whole purpose is just to grab their attention to kind of go on the second date. Does that make sense? We don't just jump right in. We get their attention and then we keep going. Second step is we need to identify what the problem is. Like what we were just talking about before, about why you guys are here and how you identified with some problem that maybe was in an IG story or email, whatever it is. That's what you have to do with your clients. You bring out the problems that they're already feeling and you meet them where they are. Craig made a great point about that. It's like the number one principle of copywriting. You meet your clients, you meet your prospects where they are in their head. So you don't say, actually, here's a great tip. So I stole this from a guy named Jay Abraham. How many of you know who Jay Abraham is? Yeah, that's another person to study. Really great. I've never met him in person. He's really good. But I stole this from him. So I've written for tons of different, as a freelance copywriter, you write for tons of different niches. And it's hard to really figure out what do these people want. I'm writing for people who are 60, and then next day I'm writing for people who are 20. Totally different pain points, desires, needs, all that stuff. So what I did is, again, something I stole from Jay Abraham, is I go on Amazon. Let's say I'm writing something in the fitness niche, right? Fitness for mothers. I'll just type fitness for mothers in the Amazon search bar or whatever, and then look at all the books that come up. So if any of you guys have computers, you can probably do that now. You'll go to the review section, and then you'll see all the reviews that have like hundreds of reviews or thousands of reviews. And those are going to be the reviews that tell, or those are your real insight into what people are feeling. That's how you start tapping into what your client is thinking before they buy. Because a lot of times, they'll say stuff like, before I jumped into this program, I did P90X and Billy Blanks' program and this program, that program, and nothing worked until X, Y, and Z product. So you really get an idea of where these people are in their head, and then you can market to them where they are. Does that make sense? Yeah? Perfect. All right, number 3. Now, after you've brought up all these pain points, all these problems that they may be feeling, the last thing you want to do is just kind of let them sit there, right? One of the mistakes I used to do is I would bring up the pain, and I would just stay in that pain point for so long, these people would just leave, right? No one wants to be depressed. So you bring up the pain, move them a little bit, because if they're in pain, they move, they shift, right? And then you direct them somewhere else. So I need to direct them to say, hey, you can follow me because there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I've been where you're at, I relate to them. I know where you want to go, and I've been there, here's how you get there. Does that make sense? Just show of hands, does that make sense? Perfect, you guys rock. So, again, when you bring it up, rub salt into the wound with that pain point, and then you basically say, but then something amazing happened to me. I felt, the same way I was banging my head against the wall, I couldn't lose any weight, but then something crazy happened. I came to this really amazing conference, I met an amazing personal trainer, they knew exactly what I needed, and everything changed. Let me tell you a little bit about it, right? Step 4, why should they listen to you? So this is pretty important, because we essentially have to grab their attention, right? That's the whole thing, we're grabbing their attention. We're rubbing salt into that pain point so that they need to move, they want the solution. But then there's going to come this thing, why should I even listen to you? Who are you? Are you important? Like, what is this? And so we need to credentialize ourselves. But the thing is, in sales letters and in sales videos, we don't want to talk about ourselves so much, because just like what I believe Craig was talking about, we only care about ourselves, right? Your client only cares about themselves. So this part you keep very short. Like this is actually, this is an example. My name is Carlos Redlich. I'm a published author and specialize in helping business owners optimize their campaigns to increase conversion rates. I've been featured in Content Magazine and hundreds of podcasts. Talking about manufacturing credibility. How many of you guys know what Content Magazine is? No one, right? It's from like Hungary or something. No one knows that magazine. But when I put that up, it definitely makes me sound like I'm credible. So when you manufacture credibility, it's totally cool if it's not like Forbes magazine, but put that thing up there because it still makes you credible. Does that make sense? Perfect. Okay, element number 5. What are the benefits? So here, how many of you guys have seen a sales pitch that has tons of bullets on it? Yeah, it's super common. And really, that's where a lot of heavy lifting is. Because the truth is, there's tons of different benefits to everything that you guys sell, more than likely, right? It's not just losing weight. Maybe you also get spiritually fit. Who knows? But if you don't know which one of these benefits or which one of these features that you're attacking is really going to hit home with that particular reader. So the reason I like to call them bullet points, and why they're all bullets, is kind of like a gun. You don't know which one's going to hit, so you just need to keep shooting, right? So just so you guys have an example of what a feature versus benefit is, should be pretty basic, but a feature would be the fitness bootcamp classes are only 45 minutes long. And then you answer the question, so what, right? That means you'll never have to worry about being late to your job. You'll get a great workout and still have plenty of time to shower, get ready, and get to work with ease. You guys see how that's not just saying, here's how you're going to get a 45-minute boot camp class, but you paint the picture of what's going to happen. Why is that important, right? Why is it, who cares if it's 45 minutes versus an hour, right? Does that make sense? Are you guys tracking? Show of hands, just showing hands just so I understand. Perfect, you guys rock. Okay, element number 6. So what ends up happening is after you've rubbed the salt in the wound, you've presented this solution, you've had all these benefits, what typically starts to happen when things get too good to be true? You get skeptical. Well, this might be too big. Is this hog? Is this like a snake oil salesman? What is this? So another way to really build credibility with your business isn't just talking about yourself, but it's talking about other clients who've seen great results using what it is that you have. Now, there's a couple types of testimonials. Everybody here know what a testimonial is, right? Perfect, like before and after pictures, right? So we've got 2 types of testimonials. We got a result-based one, which is your typical fitness before and after. I was 100 pounds overweight, did this program, 20 pounds later, or 100 pounds later, or whatever it might be. Then you've got skepticism-based, and a lot of people forget about this one. It's super powerful. You really want to include this, because I assume that, I know when I was teaching martial art, it didn't always happen, but there were sometimes people who were on the fence about the price. It was $150 a month, wasn't a lot of money, but there was people who were like, I don't know, is it really good? How long until I see results? How long until I'm like a badass? And all these things. So if you have skepticism-based testimonies that are like, hey, my name is Carlos. I first signed up to this martial arts school 4 years ago. When I first started, I was super scared. I didn't know if it was worth my money. I almost didn't sign up. I thought it was a bunch of nonsense. But then something crazy happened. I suspended my disbelief, gave it a try anyway, and it was the best thing. I never looked back. You see how that takes them and meets them where they are? They're skeptical, relates to them, and says, hey, but then I suspended my disbelief anyway, did it, and it was the best thing ever. Does that make sense? By show of hands? Does that not make sense? Sweet, you guys are awesome. Okay, and then one of the things that I got from Clayton Makepeace, you guys may or may not know him, unbelievable copywriter, I think I just mentioned it before. When he was really reviewing a lot of my copy, one of the things that I left was enough social proof. So I would put a few pieces here and there, and I was like, all right, that's it. Good, let's get to the next step, right? But he was like, you really, and depending on what you sell, we were selling programs for like $2,500, $5,000, all through sales pages. And he's like, we need 50 pieces of proof. That could be graphs, that could be before and after pictures, stuff like that. But the more elements of proof, and the way I like to look at it is the more expensive your product is, the more testimonials, the more social proof that you need. And that it doesn't always have to be testimonials, it can be pieces of, for example, let me try to relate with a fitness thing. So if somebody were to lose 50 pounds in 3 months or something, I would also do a graph of what that looked like. Here's the before and after picture. Here's a graph of how much they lost possibly per day. All of that stuff is proof that makes it real. Does that make sense? By show of hands? Oh, you're the man! This guy has 2 hands. This is awesome. Okay. Element number 7. What's the deal? So after you've really overcome all these elements where they think you're full of nonsense and is it real, is it not real, providing all the testimonials, now you need to present your deal. What's the offer, right? And the way I like to do it, or the way I like to think of it is, even if you're not a great copywriter, it's irrelevant. Like I was making money before I even knew how to write any of this stuff, right? And it was just because I had a good offer. So if you have a killer offer, whatever that might be for you, maybe it's a free week and some extra training, or a free week and some boxing, whatever it is, if you've got a killer offer, guaranteed it will overcome weak copy. But the reverse isn't true. You can't have a terrible offer and have an amazing copywriter to go in and do anything. It won't work, right? So just as an example, here's an idea of like a crazy steal of a deal offer. Normally this Ferrari is $120,000, but right now, while you're at the dealership, you can get it for only $49,000 with 0 down payment. Does that sound like a good deal? Yeah. I got the same deal, except not for a Ferrari. It was a Corvette, and I actually think by saying things like this, I've like manifested it somehow. Because I was saying that for years. And then my buddy was like, hey, you want my Corvette? It's like, I got it for 117 grand, but you can have it for 45 grand, because that's what I owe on it. And I was like, holy shit, that's like 3 grand off my $120,000 Ferrari example. So anyway, that's side note. I thought that was kind of cool. So element number 8, you want to give a guarantee. So if you've got anything that you offer, you should be able to guarantee it. Now, you don't have to do a money back guarantee, even though that's what I love. Generally, if you sell a really high price service, meaning $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, something like that, I like to use a 1-year guarantee. Just because if you say, hey, give me $5,000, but you only got 7 days to make sure this is gonna work or not, you're like, oh, this is bullshit, that's not real. This guy's just trying to scam you out of 5 grand. But if you say, hey, give me $5,000, you have a full year test drive it, make sure it's for you. Really use what I show you, and if it doesn't work, we'll give you all your money back, but I'm sure it's gonna work. You got a full year to test drive it. Most people won't refund that, because they got a full year, right? What else? Always have a guarantee. Service guarantee versus money back guarantee. So again, that's the money back guarantee version. A service guarantee is something you can do with anything. So you can say, I guarantee we'll always start class on time, we'll always finish class on time. One of the big complaints I used to get as a martial art instructor, or as a school owner, is that our instructors would sometimes go over the time period thinking that was valuable. Like, man, we went 15 minutes over and rolled and did all this stuff. While the people in class are like, man, I had a date I'm trying to meet, or I had a movie I was trying to catch, and I don't want to look like I'm leaving early. So kind of as a rule of thumb, start on time, end on time, right? And so when you use that as a guarantee, it's powerful because it actually resonates with a lot of people. Does that make sense? Sweet. Element number 9, you've always got to have a reason to act now. Again, Craig brought up tons of great points. I was sitting there like, oh, this is awesome. He's like dropping all this copywriting knowledge and stuff, right? You've always got to have a call to action. And the way you have call to actions, the way I like to do it, is I like to include a little bit of scarcity and a little bit of urgency, right? So here's what I mean. Scarcity could be like, there's only 2 spots left for our boot camp. Urgency, and you've got until Friday to take action, right? So when you combine those things and you say, hey, so actually, here's an example. We're only holding a special discount offer for the next 100 people who take action today. After that, the price goes up. And the thing is, when you give them that reason, it pushes them off the fence, and it pushes them away from saying, all right, well, I'll do this next week, or okay, let me talk to my husband or my wife and see if that's okay, because now they need to make a decision, like immediately. I actually got sold this. I bought a $5,000 package, not a fitness, this is something else, but it was actually false scarcity, so you don't want to lie, because then people will think you're a scam artist. But I bought into this thing that was a $5,000 package, and I was told that the price was going up like the next day. I was like, oh shit. And then a week later, it was the same price. I'm like, oh, this is scammy. So if you use this stuff, make sure it's real, because then you won't sell those people again. You may have gotten them once, but the next time, especially in a local business, that goes around fast. You don't want to be a scam artist. So use these techniques, but then actually like stick to it. Does that make sense? Perfect. Element number 10. Call to action. Super important. You've essentially rubbed salt in the wound, gotten them all moved and ready to buy your stuff. But if you're not clear and telling exactly what's going to happen and how the process works, you're still leaving things up to chance. You're still leaving things to possibly fall apart. So when I sell stuff online, I don't have the benefit of saying, hey man, give me your money, and like, it's very simple, right? It's not that easy. I have to be super clear, because what they have to do is click a button, and then they go to another page, which is essentially a checkout page where they fill in their billing details. Sometimes, for some reason or another, you can get them to click the button, but then when they get to the next page, you're like, wait, what is this? And then they bounce out. So in order to avoid that, I discovered that you had to be really clear in your call to action. And so really clear meant, hey, I think I have it here. Once you click over, you'll be taken to a secure order page and where you fill out your billing details. After that, you'll be granted exclusive access to our XYZ training program, right? So if you were to sell stuff, even if you were to take an order, a payment online for your in-person service, you can literally say, hey, here's what the next page is gonna look like. You're gonna fill in your billing details. After that, you're gonna get there's a calendar page where you schedule your first trial or whatever it is. But that way it's super clear and it leaves zero room for them to drop off or zero room for them to think. You don't need your prospects to think, you just need them to follow a very systematic approach to working with you. Does that make sense? Yes, thank you. Does that not make sense? Perfect, okay, that's good. Element number 11, predict the future if no action is taken. So we have the approach that we were talking about before, scarcity, urgency, making them push to take action. But as we're getting lower and lower to the page, they're more and more invested, but they're still not buying. They're still not clicking that button for some reason. And so what I like to do is I really paint the picture of where they are now, where they want to be, and if they do nothing, how's their life going to be, right? So, for example, if chances are high that if you don't take action today, you probably never will. That means you'll be stuck seeing the exact same results in the exact same weight when you step on the scale. So you literally tell, it doesn't have to be a long painting the picture thing. It can literally just be that 1 or 2 line deal, but you paint the picture so it's clear to them that if they don't take action now and they don't move, nothing will change. And is that a lie? That's not a lie. Because if they don't take action, nothing will change, right? Element number 12. There's 13 of these elements. So element number 12. You want to essentially stack. These are like the final reminders. They've gotten so close to buying. If they haven't taken action by now, you're essentially doing more convincing. So what do we have to do to convince them? Well, let's remind them of what the top 4 or 5 benefits and features are. We don't know which one's going to hit, so let's list them out. It doesn't have to be all of them, but whatever your 4 or 5 best ones are, list that out. Then remind them, hey, remember, you've only got until X day or X amount of people sign up to really take advantage of this program, so you've got to do it. And then you remind them of a guarantee. So here's the example. Remember, you have absolutely nothing to lose. You'll get blank, blank, and blank, and on top of that, you're also fully covered by my 30-day money-back guarantee, making this totally risk-free. You want to remove all the possible risk from anyone not wanting to buy. If you remove the risk, they're going to be more likely to want to take action. Does that make sense by show of hands? Perfect. All right, and element number 13. I saw this was actually on the Rise page, and I was like, this is awesome, because I can actually refer to this. So we've got a frequently asked question. I actually didn't do the page, so I don't know why I'm saying we. But there's a frequently asked question section on the Rise page, and that's so powerful, because how many of you guys think that there's people who skip the sales page and go to the bottom, or go to the price? How many of you guys think that that might be a reality? But it absolutely is reality. And the way you actually get those people to convert is you put your Cliff Notes version right here in the FAQs, and you make it like your final objection obliterator. This is your last stand. So a question could be, do you have a money-back guarantee? Yes, we have a money-back guarantee. And one of the things I like to do is, let's say we have 10 frequently asked questions or 20 frequently asked questions, or whatever it is. At the end, when I answer it, I want to put a call to action. So is there a money-back guarantee? Yes, there's a money-back guarantee. You get all your money back within 30 days. Click here to get started. How long until I see results? You can see results within 3 weeks and this, that, and whatever. Click here to try it out for yourself. So you're always putting a call to action in there so that there's a way for them to actually buy. If you don't put the call to action, then you're relying on them to just kind of scroll up or figure out where that buy button is. Chances are they won't do it. So you want to make it very, very easy. Does that make sense? Sweet. All right, guys. Now, that was actually, that's all my presentation. I cut out a lot of it because I thought I wasn't going to have enough time. But I wanted to know, raise your hand if you got any value from this. Perfect. Do we have time for a Q&A? I know we have time because I have 20 minutes. Yeah. If we did a Q&A, would you guys find that valuable? Do any of you have a product or service or something that we can actually maybe put on the spot and see if we can put something together for? Do any of you interested in any of that?
I know some of you are. Come on.
If not, it's okay. It makes my life easier. So
Here's the mic. We'll put a mic right here.
Sweet.
Come up to the mic.
Oh, and one more thing. I appreciate you guys for playing at 100% with me. But I've got, if you send me a private message on Facebook, I'll send you these slides for free. And we have these little take no shit wristbands or whatever somewhere back here you can grab.
I got them.
Yes, there we go. Sweet. Yes. Yeah, come up here. It'll look cooler. It's for the gram, dude.
Awesome, thanks. So I've got a call to action page for my website for online coaching programs that I run. And what I struggle with is kind of what you were talking about, getting traffic. People go to the site, they go through it, and then I'm getting a lot of people to go to the checkout page, and then they're gone.
Do you have an abandoned cart sequence?
I don't even know what that is, so no.
Okay, so an abandoned cart sequence is, I actually do this with my martial art page. I have tons of people who hit the checkout page, but then, and they'll fill out like the first half, so they'll put their name, email, telephone number, but they won't put in their billing info to actually buy. I'm like, oh, come on, you got so close, right? So what you do is you put together three simple emails, and essentially, the first one, you can trigger these with like get response or some kind of email marketing thing. As soon as somebody leaves your site and they've put in that info, you can actually hit them with 3 emails back to back that says, hey, I just saw you were on my site, you almost finished checking out, but for some reason you didn't. Click here to finish your checkout. You can get that. There's other, if you're doing online coaching, I wouldn't recommend doing a discount, just because it kind of cheapens your stuff, right? And I think that with online, I know you can because I've done it with my martial arts stuff, my online stuff, you can get people back into purchase that way. But let's say they haven't put in their email address, that's like the abandoned cart thing. You have 3 emails that are essentially doing the same thing. Hey, I saw yesterday you came to my site, you almost wanted to buy whatever it was, but you never took action. Make sure you do it now and repeat whatever the urgency or scarcity is, right? But make sure you take action now because we've only got 100 spaces left, or whatever, right? That may be something you're missing too, urgency and scarcity, a reason to act. And then the other thing is, you said you're getting in there through Facebook.
All different ones, Facebook, blogs, Instagram.
Do you have a Facebook pixel on there?
On the checkout itself?
Yeah, on your whole funnel, or whole sales page, or whole page.
I don't think so.
So and I'm not like a Facebook ad guy, but I run ads for my own stuff. And another thing I did is whenever you can retarget, how many people know what retargeting is? Okay, so retargeting is if somebody comes to your website, you can, and they bounce out, you can now follow them around with an ad on Facebook or any of these other platforms saying, hey, you came to my site, come back, right? And so you can kind of recoup sales that way. So what I would do is, if you can actually see that they've hit your checkout page but haven't purchased, you can set up an ad to retarget them on Facebook. Like YouTube will show you how to do this really easily, but you set up an ad to retarget them saying something like, wait, you almost finished checking out, or you almost finished, what's your online fitness program?
That's more like life coaching and meditation.
Okay, so you almost got started with a life coaching meditation program, but for some reason you didn't. Click here and finish your checkout. Another thing you can do is have a video of you actually explaining what the offer is and making it personal to all those people who've hit that. Again, you can target only the people who've hit the checkout page and not purchased, and say, video yourself. Hey, what's happening? I really appreciate you coming on the site. For some reason you bounced out. I totally get it. Again, you want to relate to them. Totally get it. One of the things that we really pride ourselves on here is that we can help you do X, Y, and Z. You kind of do a little 5-minute pitch and bring up the problem, bring up how you're solving it, bring up some scarcity, and then have a clear call to action, which in your case would be come back to the site you were already at, get started right now because we've only got whatever the urgency or scarcity is. Does that help?
Yeah, super.
Perfect.
Awesome, man. Thanks, bro.
Yep, thank you for coming out, man. All right, got another person. This is great because we all talked about playing at 100% and being committed and all this stuff. And when you actually participate, like this is all for you. This is great value. This is good.
I have to adjust the mic, I'm shorter.
I'm short too. I got similar problems.
So,
They're laughing because it's true.
at least I could reach them.
Yeah.
So I have both a website and then I also have a separate, I'm using ClickFunnels, right?
Oh,
a separate
perfect.
sales
That's what I
page.
use.
Do you recommend taking the website and actually like turning every single page into essentially a sales page if it's marketing a particular product or service?
Yeah, so I'm personally not a fan of like just a generic style page, because a generic style page usually doesn't do, it's not super purpose driven, right? We don't have a singular purpose. One of the things that I actually never tested this when I had my gym, because we weren't savvy. But what I have seen a few people do is, as soon as you come to the page, there's no other option other than saying I'm a male or a female. And then you click that and you go into your own individual funnel. And that's smart, because now you turn your general website and you've customized it, right? It could literally be the exact same offer, same benefits, same everything. When you make them on that first page, click, I'm a female, click, woo, okay, everything here now is apparently customized to me, and so you generally get higher conversions. So I would kind of turn all your stuff into sales pages, so to speak, but you can still use your generic website and just have them kind of funnel themselves, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else, guys? Perfect. Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being here.
Dun, dun, dun. That's been good? Yeah? Good start to the day so far? Cool. So, 10-minute break. Go. So stop by the registration table. There's some gifts for you guys from Mr. John. Who knows John Goodman? So John Goodman sent a bunch of gifts over for each of the